Welcome and thank you all for taking this time out to attend our PACE timesheet training webinar for the month of August. For those of you who do not know, these webinars will be monthly and they will be held entirely online, and they are optional and they will be offered to MEs and SDEs. At this moment, we will begin the webinar, and I ask all attendees to please list any questions you may have in the Q&A or in the comment section, and those questions will be answered to the best ability after the webinar. Right now, we will begin the SDE PACE timesheet training, but before we do that, I just want you guys to be aware that this website is our practice website. This is not our timesheet website. Our timesheet website is time.financialmanagementservices.org. This is just a practice website for us to show you guys how to properly fill out a timesheet. I will also list that web in the comments as well after the webinar. We will begin with the SDE PACE timesheet training. As the SDE, you will click on the SDE timesheet login. As the SDE, you will need to log in with your username and passcode. These credentials should have already been sent to you. Please check your junk mail, your spam mail. This email should have been sent from a no reply email from our agency. If you have not received this email, please reach out to our customer service department so that way we know how to assist you and we can provide those credentials to you. So again, you want to log in with your email. And you also want to pick a starting Saturday that your payroll week. So for example, we're going to just choose we're going to choose any date. I also provided a John Doe username and a password just to show you guys how to properly fill out a timesheet. This is not a real name. So please be aware of that. After you have provided your username and password and the starting Saturday, you want to select Submit. When you select Submit, all of your plans will be listed on this screen. Please pick the plan by clicking on Pick This Plan to enter your timesheet. Please know once you pick the plan, the information will be listed as the top that consists of your name, the manager-employer name, the consumer ID, the cost center, the outcome and strategy, as well as the authorized hours and date range. This information will be listed at the top of every timesheet. You will also have a section that says Note from ME. This will be listed if there's any issues with the timesheet. The ME will be able to list any notes to make any corrections on any timesheets you have submitted. And you will also have a section where it will have the timesheet status SDE at the top, as well as the date range. So we will begin by entering a new shift for this plan because there are no shifts listed. So in order to enter a new shift, you will have to enter the date that you would like to add the shift for, and please be aware that the date have to be within this date range. So we're going to use July 13th, 2024. And you will have to also put in the time in as well as the time out. Please know that hours are automatically calculated, so you do not have to fill in this section. It's always important to also write the AM and the PM, or AM and AM, for the in and out, and select the strategy code. For this example, we're going to do the ADLs. Select the time off code if there's any time off, and select your location code. After you have filled in each of these categories, you want to select Add this shift row. By adding this shift row, you're able to see the information you have entered in the yellow section at the bottom at the top. You have the date, the in, the out times, the hours have automatically calculated, the strategy code is listed, as well as the location. As you can see, there is no time off code because we are working. And you can also see the case notes is needed for this day as well. So before we click on the case notes that are needed, I want to give you all 4 different scenarios for the notes entry. If notes okay is listed, this means the notes was entered correctly and you do not need to make any changes. If the section denotes information states none has time off, this means the person is on PTO or have jury duty, and you do not need to enter anything else or no notes for that day as well. If it states please enter at least one activity, this means there are no activities selected and you have to go back into your notes to select the activities. And if it also states case notes are needed, which is this example right here, this is displayed if the notes have not been entered or are not long enough. Okay? So at this time, we're going to select the notes section. We're going to select ADLs because that is our strategy. So you're going to click at least one activity. Then you would click on the many subcategories that apply to your shift. So in this example, we're going to hit getting dressed. You can also note whether any support was needed during this shift. We have instructions were provided, physical support was needed, or independent. So in this example, we're going to say physical support was needed. And it's also important to select if progress was made or no progress was made. So in this example, we're going to put no progress was made. Please note if you do not see any subcategories here, you are able to select other and describe the other activity that you have completed during your shift. The notes have more options than you have been accustomed to. And again, this is to fulfill compliance rules and to make the notes more detailed. Okay? So we do apologize, but in order to not have any errors or any corrections being made, please try to fill out each of these categories so that way we do not have to resend these timesheets back to you to make any corrections. So once you have completed this section or any other section that you have selected as a strategy, you will have to come down to the bottom to basically provide more details during your shift. You want to be able to at least provide a 10 minimum character so that way you can save and exit. If you do not provide at least a 10 minimum character, it will not allow you to save. So for this example, we're going to put, we're going to say, excuse me, Since it was getting dressed and there was physical support, we're gonna say Nancy required physical support to put on her clothes. Before they program. And you just want to say, even though you have physical support, you can also say, basically hand over hand was also provided um, to Nancy when putting on. Okay. So Nancy required physical support to put on her clothes before day program, hand over hand. Assistance Assistance was also provided to Nancy when putting on her shoes. Now, again, as long as you are putting in a type of support and you're going into details, again, this is just saying that you got her dressed and there was physical support and no progress. You want to go into details of saying what required physical support, and what type of assistance you provided to assist your consumer. So after you have provided that information, you want to hit save and exit. Do not select exit without saving, because then you have to complete this whole thing again. Okay. So once you hit save without exit, save and exit, you see the notes state notes okay. And again, this means that the notes was entered correctly, and you have no other information or anything else to do. Okay, so once you come back into your timesheet, you are also able to edit this shift by selecting edit. So if you do select that, it will bring you back down to the yellow area below. You're able to make any corrections. Let's just put 3:30 just so you guys can have an example. And once you make any corrections, you hit add this shift row, and as you can see, it says 3:30. You're able to see that information above, any corrections you have made. You also could clear this shift row if you decide to clear the row. You also can go back into the notes section if that's something you want to do as well, if there's anything you felt that you left out. Once you have finished with all the shifts for the week that you have worked, you can submit your timesheet to the ME by selecting submit to ME, If there's no submit button, it means there's an error in the timesheet and it needs to be corrected before submitting. If you do not wish to submit your timesheet yet, you can also select Save for Later, which will save the timesheet and not submit it. Or you can go back to the list, back to login, or back to the FMS website. Please note the bottom, do provide your signature. So this is something that you do not have to do every day or every week when submitting your timesheet. We're going to go back to login. That completes the SDE PACE timesheet training. Now we're going to go into the ME PACE timesheet training. And again, this is just our practice website. The website that you will be using to complete your timesheet is time.financialmanagementservices.org. And again, this will be listed in the chat for you all if you do not have this. So as the ME, you want to select the ME Manager Employee Login menu. Once you select that, you want to click on the ME Timesheet Login. You want to basically log in with your username and password. And again, this is just a John Doe username for practice purposes only. These credentials should have been sent to you from our agency from a no reply email. Please check your junk or spam mail. Once you have logged in with your username and password, you want to select submit. You will see all the timesheets available for your review. You want to pick any timesheet by clicking on Pick This Timesheet button. As the ME, you will also have this information on every timesheet. You will have the SDE name, your name, as well as the consumer number, department cost center, outcome and strategy, authorized hours, and date range. You will also be able to see the timesheet status if you have approved it or not, and you will also see the date range as well. As the ME, you have the option to reject the timesheet once you have viewed it, approve the timesheet, or go back to the relist timesheets to approve them. You can also approve and save for later. As the ME, you have the option to leave an optional rejection note if you are rejecting the timesheet. So for the 24th, you will put the date, you will put the rejection date in this section, as well as the reason you are rejecting it. You can say more details or incorrect information, and you can hit the reject button. And when you reject this timesheet, it will be able to pop up on the SDE at the top of why you are rejecting it and what corrections do they need to make. As the ME, you can also make any corrections to their timesheets as far as editing the information. This will come down in the yellow columns, and you are able to edit the date, the in, the out, and again, the hours automatically calculate. You can edit the strategy code as well as the time off code in the location. Once you have made any corrections, you can click on add this shift row, and that will come back up to the top of the section. You also have the ability to edit the row, clear the row if it was a mistake. And as the ME, it's important to know that you do not have the ability to edit the notes. If you go into the notes, it will state the ME cannot change activity notes, only the SDE can. Okay. So with that being said, that will be another reason why you will reject the note if you see that if the note need more details or if there's any corrections that are needed for the notes. Should you add time, again, you will see case notes needed, but again, you cannot do that because the ME only has the option to review the notes and not edit. This timesheet, again, if it needs to be rejected, you hit reject or approve. As the ME, you will have the option to go back to the login as well in the FMS website. You will also have your signature at the bottom as well as the SDE signature. So that is something that you do not have to request or complete for every week or every timesheet. At this moment, we're going to go back to login, and that completes the ME portion. So at this moment, we're going to look through the Q&As as well as the chat and answer any questions you all may have. I will also provide the link, and any contact information that you all may need for any questions or concerns.